I'm Ode. That's Vicky. I'm me. You're you. We are we.
Oh my god, that was so corny.
The You, Me,
Oh
We
goodness.
podcast. Welcome to the You, Me, We podcast. Today is our country shirt edition.
Technically, they saw me with this shirt first,
Anyway,
so he could have
I
changed.
grabbed the first shirt. I looked over and I realized, like, damn, we look like we about to go to a hee-haw hootenanny. Don't break my heart. All right, special guest in the building today. I'm gonna hand it over. Well, Vicky's here. Blah blah blah. You know. Let our special guest introduce himself.
Hello. My name is Adan Minaya. I'm 29. I'm
Wait. We do have Dominican listeners, so if you want to say your name,
How it's really supposed to be said.
You're
right.
Dominican,
Hold on.
he's like, for my Caucasian listeners, my name is Adan.
He's like Adan Manaya. I'm like, first of all, I've never even heard
You
your
know
name.
the funny
like
part
that.
is that I kept saying Adan, and then I just as when I was pulling in here,
Like he himself was like, wait,
just as I was
is that
pulling
my
in, I
name?
was like, wait, no. Vicky in the wedding episode, it's Adan. So I was like, so just
Yeah.
consistent.
I'm like,
Let
I've
me
never
call
heard
it
his
Adan.
name. I've never heard his name in English.
But on behalf of my American listeners, we appreciate you taking the
Of
time.
course,
to
man.
Watch. Everyone's like, oh, who's that guy?
Trying to
Adam.
be diverse, man.
So for our Dominican listeners,
My name is Adan Minaya.
There you go.
everybody now is like, oh.
But I've come,
who
like,
I know.
but like Ode was saying, I've come to love the name Adan.
Okay.
I've never heard your name in English.
Like
Yes.
I've come to love the name Odie and Ode, because that's
Because you have no choice at that point too, because everybody's just
after a while, for people with interesting names. After a while, you just kind of assimilate to what, because after a while, you get tired of saying no. It's
Nope.
you don't
I
want to
don't
be
get
that guy
tired.
either. You don't
You
want
don't
to be
want to be that guy. Yeah.
It's Ode.
I'm that
actually.
person.
After a while, you're like, you know what?
I am absolutely that person. And if you say my name wrong, I will purposely call you a different name.
And you know what?
Even though I know your name is Jessica, I'll be like, first of all, Kathy, I don't even know what your problem is. They're like, my name's not Kathy. And I'm like, just like my name's not whatever you just called me.
But the reason why I do, even though I said I'll let it slide a lot of times more than I should, the reason why I agree with what Vicky said, I'm a loyal listener to the Michael K show on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
And I always remember the story he told where it was some rookie player for the Yankees. Michael K, he's the voice of the Yankees, ESPN radio. Vicky wouldn't know because she only watches Salvador Gigante growing up, so she wouldn't know. And he said he asked the player, how do you want me to say your name? Because he announces the players, and it's baseball, so half the league is Dominican.
Pretty much.
No, so the guy was like, oh, don't worry about it, just say it however. And he told the guy, no, this is your name.
Yeah.
He's like, tell me how to say your name. Like, don't just let me say it however. So it's important. That's your name. So I agree with you. But that's not why we're here today. We kind of goes into it. We had Adan. We had Adan here today.
Who's Aiden?
I know, right? We had Adan here today to talk about something that I feel like, I know I've had the conversation with friends many times. I know Vicky and I have had the conversation a couple times. Pretty much following your dreams, following your passion. I guess to start, to kind of give you all listeners homework while you're listening is to ask yourself right now, am I following my passion?
Yeah.
Everybody just now
100%.
was like, damn, I'm not. Like,
But them bills, though.
and you know what? I think that's the reason why a lot of us don't follow our passion, because of them bills. DEMBILLS.
Yeah, because they're disrespectful, so you have to
Them bills.
emphasize how disrespectful they are.
And I think that's why we don't.
Yeah.
So
Or at least not all of us.
for those of you who saw the Phoenix MPM Live podcast, I had a guest, Antonio Perales. On Instagram, he's Advice from Tony, or I should know
Lessons from Tony.
Lessons from Tony on Instagram.
Wow.
And he
That's a dear friend to Ode. and He
swear.
didn't even know his handle.
he gave a sole speech about
I'm a dear friend.
he talked about and Tony's following his passion. He upped and left.
Yeah.
He was working in the corporate America, doing well for
for
himself.
a big company.
Yeah.
Big
No,
company.
awesome.
Yeah.
Upped and left, went to San Diego, and he went through the ups and downs of following your passion, because there's ups and downs.
Mhm.
But he talked about, and I'll use this to start the conversation. He talked about the golden handcuffs, which a lot of us kind of accept. We accept the golden handcuffs. So with that said, Vicky, are you following your passion? Other than your passion to be with the most amazing, handsome,
Attaboy.
beautiful
Attaboy.
man, you're welcome.
Anyways,
Go ahead.
I would say yes.
Okay.
Kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah.
How's that?
Cause I feel like I'm still in the nitty gritty stage, so it's kind of like.
Did you break the golden handcuffs? Did you break off the golden handcuff? Did you?
What are golden handcuffs?
It's pretty much what he's trying to say is like, you're doing well for yourself, but at the end of the day, what you're really doing is not working towards something that you're passionate for. You're just lucky enough to be in a position where you're doing well, you're making good money, but it feels like you can do more. Yeah. And it feels like because you have this handcuff of having this job, you can't break them loose where you can kind of create something for yourself.
Because there's this comfort that comes with the golden. There's this
100%.
comfort because you can pay them bills, and with them bills being paid, there's a sense of peace.
Yeah.
With that health insurance, there's a sense of peace.
Yes. 100%.
You know, with that money, there's a sense of fullness in your stomach because you can pay for food.
Double if
getting the cameras
double
out
if you have a kid, like you guys.
Yeah.
If you
double.
have a kid.
Oh my God, that's even
let's
more.
Go back to health insurance. With you.
Yo, I just want to say thank you to the insurance companies because we get that bill of how much Kalal's medications cost, and I'm like,
to kind of go off track, I used to hear
I
about
don't even think my organs can sell for that much in the black market. Like,
I used to hear how people would say, people
Don't tempt
vote
anybody.
I know.
I used to hear people say we vote on the issues, like when it comes to voting for like politicians, and so you might be, very stern on certain things, but you're going to vote for the person who, because you're a hardcore Catholic or religious, whatever, you're going to vote for the candidate who fits with those views. Yeah. So you're anti-abortion, so you'll go with that candidate, even if you don't agree with everything he or she is about. And I was like, nowadays, I'm like, what is your stance on healthcare? Because I'm almost convinced we're in triple digits by now. We're in, if you, we're close, yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But because of that golden handcuff, we're able to cover it. Yeah. Thank you, health insurance. But
yeah, I guess for the golden handcuffs thing, I think I did. I cushioned the landing for me a bit, and then I guess now it's becoming realer as my cushion is getting more scarce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cushion means she had a little something on
100%.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, but again, thank you guys for having me on here. That's number one.
Of course.
But the reason why I was like super happy to be part of this conversation was just because like when it comes to following your passion, it's always like people are afraid because and let me actually bring it back to kind of give you a whole full picture. Vicky and I we're cousins, and we were raised the same way. Your father and mother taught you the same thing, where it's, hey guys, make sure you secure your money.
Yes.
Make sure you go to college and make sure you get a good paying job.
Good city job.
Yes.
You get a good job.
Government job.
But that's what they wanted for us. Yeah. Right. That's all they've ever wanted for us.
And the American dream.
100%.
Because that's what they came here for, and they don't let you forget it.
Yeah.
So being raised that way, I graduated high school, 2007 out of Perth Amboy. I got my degree at Rider University 2011.
Oh, fellow Bronx.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Fellow Bronx.
Let's go.
I got my master's from Rider last year.
Boom. Let's go.
You're a road runner or something like that? A road runner?
I didn't graduate from Rampo.
Oh, my bad. You're a cougar? A cougar?
Yeah.
Shout out to all my fellow Rider Bronx out there.
I'm like, I guess if that's king.
But you know what? I worked my tail off just to get the job that I got out of college, which was at Deloitte, which is a top 4 accounting firm.
It is very big.
57,000. I can say myself 57,000 a year. Full coverage. Everything was great coming out of high school because you know what? Coming out of college.
I was
because
about to say,
I know.
It's a numbers genius right there.
But coming out of college, everything was kind of like everything was perfect. I secured the job and everything was good, and I was living at home. And for those that
means the expenses were like,
listen, guys, also women, please stay at home for as long as you can. Don't be dumb. Don't try.
Yes.
Independence is nice, but you can be independent in your parents' basement too, man.
Absolutely.
Or in the room upstairs. You're good. Relax, guys.
You know what? Don't let people talk you out of that.
Don't let Instagram fool you.
Thank you.
People be like, you still live at home? Ew.
You're like, yes, I do.
Or you
That's
don't know,
why-
yeah, or you don't know real bills until
Nah.
you move out. Like,
You know what you tell them?
I will find out then.
You know what you tell him? He's like, you're making fun of me, but you're all here complaining about us splitting the bill. No, bro. Just because you got because you got those people that are like, hey, I only paid for water and some wings.
Yeah, like I only,
So this $300 bill, like I got like, I really ordered $50 worth of stuff.
and person that
But
live
see,
at
if you weren't living, if you were living at home,
person that live at home
You
is
Be
like,
like, yo, I
good.
got
Yeah.
you, bro.
person at home is like, yo, don't worry, I got you. I got you.
exactly.
But I'm gonna walk back to my basement in my mom's
You need
house.
some bread?
Yeah.
We could pick up some bread.
Yeah. Like literally, you need some bread, though. Literally, because but you live by yourself, so you good.
But just to pick up on that is everything was going good for me, and then, as I was working at Deloitte and I was doing accounting there, high stress, especially as an audit assistant, like
Oh
when
my
you start,
goodness.
high stress, especially January through March. You're working 55 hours. That's on your calendar.
Mm.
It says 55.
They're
No-
letting you know, shut
no
down your
overtime.
life.
No overtime. No overtime pay. That's straight salary.
Oh yeah, that's
So
the
when you actually
salary.
break it down by hours, you're making as much as the guy from Wendy's across the street.
Yes.
Yeah. So
No offense.
oh, by the way, yeah.
No.
The person
he's-
from no,
He's
no,
saying like the person from Wendy's.
you're on the come up. Don't listen to Vicky. You're on the come up.
No.
I'm kidding.
He's trying to say like the person from Wendy's has the advantage at
Yes.
that point because they clock in and they clock
Yeah,
out and
yeah,
they're
yeah.
done
Right.
and they're not giving 55
and
hours
I'm
of
making
their
a good
life.
salary here, and I'm like, you spread it up, and you're like, I'm not making anything per hour.
Yes.
But it was a lot of hours, a lot of high stress. So I used my year of experience to kind of springboard myself into a new job, which
Okay.
was JFK Medical Center.
Yeah.
I worked from a division that was very small, and then it pretty much grew in the 4 years that I was there.
Yeah.
But the thing is when I was really like thinking about it in terms of like these last, literally since I graduated college from 2011 to now, 7 years, I always thought to myself, like, what do I have to show for it?
Mhm.
I have the experience, I have a good business background. I could probably run my own business. I could do the financials, but what have I actually had to show?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I was just kind of like, an epiphany came to me where I was like, I need to do something more
Yeah.
than what I'm doing now. So, so again, to go back to high school, I played baseball through high school, through
Yeah.
college, and that's
So
my
you're
my passion.
Dominican that played
hold on.
baseball?
Shocking, right? Shocking.
Hold on. just to tie this in. So in our wedding episode, Ode had mentioned how one of his favorite things was how we went to a wedding and that the groom's band was a print of whatever it is the baseball has. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is Adan who has the ring.
So
Which I have it on.
when we get a chance,
Have it
we're gonna have
You
him.
better have that on.
when we get a chance, we're gonna zoom in on the ring so you guys can see what I'm talking about.
100%.
Yeah.
But I played baseball throughout my entire life, and you know what? I owe baseball everything because it taught me discipline. It taught me how to work with others. It taught me how to be a leader. And it literally tied everything together where it's like, man, I truly have a passion for the game. Unfortunately, as a kid, you always think of making it to the majors,
Yeah.
but that's not always the case.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yes, that's okay.
But the journey for me to get to a high school kid where, I didn't have much training in baseball and to make a Division I team is that
Nope.
jump with no money. My parents tried their best and now they're a little more secure in life, but I had no money, no training. If I had that with the passion that I had, it probably would have gotten a lot better. But given the circumstances, that I can't take that back. But I made a Division I team, and it felt like things were going my way with baseball, but unfortunately my career got cut short. So what I decided to do was, at first it was to give back. So what I was doing is training kids at the high school level,
Yeah.
training kids at when they're much younger too, like 10. Anybody that has a passion for the game, I'm willing to train. And when you actually see, and this is a big thing with following your passion, when you actually see like some kid that you've been helping out and everything kind of clicks together for them, and you see them performing,
Yeah.
and you see them actually doing well, there's a euphoria that's unexplainable, which is amazing. Like for me, it was just like just seeing that kid do so well, and then like after the game coming up to you and say, "Hey, coach, what you told me was amazing. I couldn't have done it without you. Like that was an amazing that technique that you put in me, like, or that the way what we broke down my swing, that's all I needed, and I feel good. I feel confident, and now maybe that kid that I that I was helping out is, and I have a few that were in high school that now are going off into college.
Yeah.
And not that to say that, oh, everything was on you and you were the reason why he's there, but you were a small piece.
You played a part. You played a part.
And that is like the best feeling ever.
That's the this is why I do it moment. This is why I did it moment. This is why I'll put up with it. This is why I will sacrifice the time, the money. You know, that was your this is why I do it moment.
100%. And literally, like, I have more to show when it comes to the things that I've taught on the field than I have my own job, which I have a degree in.
Yeah.
And I have 7 years of experience. Not to say that that's bad, because you know what? At the end of the day, guys, at the end of the day, a job to start off will give you the money, the funds. I bought a house that has rental income. You know, I was able to buy a good car. Like, I was able to be, you know, we're able to stabilize ourselves.
Right.
But at the end of the day, let's say I continue out throughout my entire life, working, I retire, we travel, and then the ending, obviously, is you know, you pass away. What kind of legacy are you living? I mean, what kind of legacy are you leaving here?
Yeah.
The legacy that you're leaving is you have a nice car and you have money.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever going to remember you for that. Nobody. So that's my main thing, is like, I'm just trying to and I don't want to get philosophical here, but you know, like, you know what I mean? But what I'm really trying to do is leave a legacy.
Yeah.
Something where it's like, hey, if I was able to help 500 kids and those 500 kids are all college graduates and now they're doing what they love to do.
Yeah.
Man, that's
a way to.
That's a huge impact. And not only that, it keeps reciprocating itself, because now you taught those kids something, and it'll make a life. Now they're teaching their kids, and their kids teach their kids.
Yeah.
And you're instilling that in them. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's a win-win.
I feel like we all need, like, how do I put it? We all need that moment. Like, there has to be some kind of X factor, like, for you to realize, all right, something gotta change right now. So whether it's for some people it might be having a child.
Right.
Because I remember when Vicky, you know, wowed me with the extravagant news that she was with child, with her amazing creativity. The way she told me, pretty much she just sat me down and was like, you think you tired now? You ain't gonna have sleep ever again because I'm pregnant. I'm not even exaggerating.
Oh my God, that is so romantic.
That is how Vicky told.
No, actually, I was like, do you have a problem?
Yeah. I was like, no, I'm just tired.
Yeah, he had an attitude problem.
She was like, well, you ain't gonna have sleep.
Well, you better get over it because I'm pregnant.
No, but for me, I remember the moment I found out she was pregnant and that we were going to have a child, for me it was like, all right, everything I do now has to work. Everything I do now has to have a purpose. I got to leave a legacy now. Yep. For some people, it might be the here's why I do it moment, or realizing, you know what, I don't have a here's why I do it moment. I've been working. I've been working this job for God knows how many years. I go there from 9 to 5, 9 to 10, whatever, 9 to 12.
Drives me.
Right.
And I realized I have no kind of joy or no kind of. So we all have to have something has to happen, some kind of X factor to make you realize, all right, I'm not living in my passion. I'm not following my passion, or I'm not happy here. But then some people do have that moment. But now you factor in, well, okay, I do want to follow my passion, but like we said, the bills, or I guess just as equal as the bills gotta get paid, the fear of following your passion. Because there's so much uncertainty with following your passion.
Yeah.
And you know, the funny thing is that when you like you're saying, the funny thing is you're saying that you come to a point in your life, right? A lot of people think it's in your 20s or or in your 30s, but that point in your life doesn't have to be at an early age.
It could be 50.
You could be 50 or 60 years old, because life expectancy is going up.
Yes.
So if you're 50,
I'm never dying.
I mean, women still outlive men, but I guess your life expectancy is holding out a little longer. But women, we good.
I can't wait to put.
Or you can hold these gambling bets. How about that?
Bro,
I ain't holding nobody's bets. I'm like, dig them up.
Yo, I can't wait to plan your funeral, yo.
I'm like, take the casket, yo.
Resurrect them.
Take the casket.
But like I'm saying, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. At 20, 30. It could be at 50. And here's the thing: if you're 50 years old and you're retired, there's a lot that you can still give back. You still live in another 20 years.
Yo, for sure.
As long as you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
You're living another 20 years. That's a long time for you to do something, and you're most likely at the end of your, your work life. So now you have a lot of more free time. it doesn't have to be in your 20s or
Yeah,
30s. So
and plus,
guys,
like,
relax.
the things that could change your life could be tomorrow,
Yes.
could be in a year.
Mhm.
Like 1 year can change your entire life.
Mhm.
So, it doesn't matter when.
That reminds me of you put me up on her. Maya, Shameless Maya.
Oh yeah.
Cause
no,
you said a year, so I would say she took explain her thing. You know
So she did like a social media. So she got on YouTube, still fairly on when YouTube wasn't like as popular.
That's awesome.
And she did where she was going to shamelessly promote herself for a year, and she just did things like out the box. Like for Fashion Week, she like dressed up. Okay, so we're not all like, I can confidently say, we're not all like reading like fashion editorials and following up on all the latest trends. We're just like, all right, that looks nice. That doesn't look nice, or whatever.
That's affordable.
Yeah. So when we look at like Fashion Week, some of the outfits were like, yo, that's fashion. Okay. So she did one of those outfits. She put it together and she walked around. She hired like this big guy that looked like a bodyguard, and she got like mad balloons, and she was just walking up and down where they were holding Fashion Week for New York. And
fake it till you make it.
Yes. And she like promoted herself. Like she had someone recording it, taking pictures. So she did things like that for a year, and that pretty much like catapulted her into, like becoming like she had curly hair before she shaved it all off. So she was like a curly hair person, and then she started her own business in LA, and then
Awesome.
1 year of putting herself out there.
Good example of how a year could change your life. But I think that time thing does affect a lot of people. Because I'll admit, at one point I was like, yo, I'm gonna turn this DJ thing into like a thing,
Yeah.
But then there was a point where I was like, all right, well, you're like 30, you really want to be like a 40, 50-year-old DJ? Like, how far can you go with being just a DJ? Even though, there are 40, 50-year-old DJs out there. But I was just like, I thought, okay, maybe it's a little too late for that. Maybe my 20s was when I should have been going hard with trying to be whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was too late. Not saying that's what I want to do, but I know a lot of people will get to, or they have an idea, they have a passion, but they just feel like, it's too late for me for some people to be a YouTuber. It's too late for me to.
I don't think that's true.
It's too late for me to leave my job now.
But it kind of seems like what you're saying is at the end, like when you were just deciding like, all right, I'm gonna slow down the DJ thing. It kind of seems like you kind of are losing a little bit of that, like, I don't feel like you're losing a little bit of passion.
That's what I was gonna say. Because I'm
right.
like, I don't think it has to do with the age. I think that your interests are no longer aligned with what
That's true.
you wanted to do. Like you're like, I see myself in a different light. Maybe I don't want to be like DJing like twerk parties. Like, maybe I want to DJ.
Which is what happened. I realized,
like maybe I want to DJ, elegant weddings,
right.
or I want to DJ, these kind of events only. Like you're starting to like really cater.
There's a market for that.
There's a market for everything.
And guys, and kind of like going off of your point is you have to always remember that. All right, you have this passion, but I think the main thing here, and because a lot of this, you want to be as motivational as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times you have to think about, how do I monetize this?
Hello, how are they going to live?
Exactly.
But I'm just doing it because I love it.
Exactly. And I think
I
think that is what actually scares people the most.
Yeah.
Because you think about just your passion, like, all right, I'm going to follow my passion, but that means I'm going to be broke. What?
Mm-hmm.
You can start a PayPal account in 10 minutes. And start accepting money for whatever you're doing.
Yeah, that's
true.
Like
you can monetize anything right away.
Yeah.
Like that girl right there, she's smart because YouTube pays in views.
Yes.
So that's she could.
And she's big now.
She could have had a full-time job, and then every night she would have prepared for that one day where she's holding balloons in a crazy dress, and those views just skyrocket.
Yeah, that's what she did. She had a job, and then until YouTube was her primary source of income, and then that's when she I think like quit her job, started her own company, and was making her money off YouTube. See, I should have stuck with YouTube when I uploaded that video.
But that
2007.
But that money doesn't come in right away.
Correct. No, exactly.
And
it'll take time.
You have to build.
That's why I'm sure there's people who probably did. You know what? I'm going to take the jump. And it's funny. Let's kind of go back. You said that whole cushion. You had a little cushion, that little secret stash of money that she has somewhere. I'm gonna find it one day.
I had a stash.
You gotta check somewhere she doesn't know, bro.
That
you wouldn't expect.
The message that Lessons from Tony had given to me, of advice was, he talked about taking that jump, but taking the jump without the parachute. Because some of us will take the jump with the parachute.
Yep.
So it's like, are we really taking the jump? Because you got that little cushion, you got that little extra sense of security that, you know what, I can pull the parachute anytime and I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Or there's sometimes you be like, I'm leaving the job.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
God is with me.
There is no plan B. Jesus take the wheel. PayPal.
That's kind of where I was, like at the very last time.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I was. I was like, may God be with me. That's all I gotta say. Like, I have a cushion, but that's not gonna last forever.
But you know what? A lot of people overthink it though. When you talk about that parachute, guys, having a college degree, boom, there's your parachute done.
But
if you have a college degree, you're good.
You know what's crazy? I've always said, if I have to get a job, one thing I'm confident in myself is that I'm employable.
I believe that 100%.
I'm employable. I don't sweat it. I'm employable.
Guys,
I can
you need
get
a Vicky
hired.
on your team. 100%.
I'm employable. That's not a problem for me.
So talking about jumping out the plane with that parachute, or just jumping out the plane,
correct?
Breaking those golden handcuffs. Is it safe to say you've jumped?
Yes,
you made the jump.
I have put in my
right?
2 weeks, guys. I've
it's
put in my
scary.
2 weeks.
Congratulations.
We're gonna add in the applause sound effects right here.
With no job in line.
Okay, so
yo, it's scary.
So
You're like, yo.
Let's talk about that.
God, please spare me my teeth, because I can't be going to no dentist. Please keep me safe. Don't let me break no bones, because I will heal it at home.
And I'm assuming it was easy to do, no pressure.
Yes, easy to do, easy to talk about with my wife, by the way.
No, okay, walk us through the process, because I'm assuming this process took months, probably weeks, probably days.
Right. To build up the courage
100%.
alone.
And I'm sure as you got closer to making that decision and actually verbalizing, feelings change, things happen.
Right.
So walk us through that.
Well, the thing is that I was gonna do it a lot sooner, but as you guys were a testament to them bills and them wedding planning bills, guys. I was just for everybody to know, I was married May 14th of this past year.
And let's talk about top weddings of the year.
Yeah.
It was top notch, man. It was amazing.
It was dope.
But like I said, I had to pay not only the bills but the wedding bills.
Yeah.
So I told Jess, I was like, no, I'm gonna stay in my job. Let's keep going and let's see if we can find a place where it's a good time for us for me to kind of move on and be ready to take that next step.
Yeah.
And but the thing is that, and here's something that I want you guys to know, is that there's a lot of times when you actually put something that like a barrier there, and it's fine. If it's financial, you're gonna have a lot of problems.
Yep.
Deciding to like, hey,
yep,
I'm gonna follow my passion, because financial, like, that's the biggest barrier that you're ever gonna face.
Yeah. Because it's finance equals security.
100%.
Yeah.
So I didn't want that to be a factor, because I know it's gonna keep me back.
Yeah.
But we got to a place actually, because I do the finances in my house. I'm an accountant.
I'm like, as you should. I don't understand.
Because you're the man.
Jess allows. Yeah. This guy could get me in trouble.
Yeah.
Jess,
I'm like, don't follow his lead, Adan.
I'm gonna edit that just perfect, like Jess. He agreed.
But I handle the finance, and I'm able to project based on like how much I can. But I can do that.
Well, I mean, my sister could teach me, but she's annoying. So you can teach me.
I have literally an Excel spreadsheet that projects how much I'm gonna have in the next 3 years.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. 'Cause I'm like, I only know how to project for a budget via properties kind of thing, and that kind of projection is not what he's talking about.
I projected I'll be broke next week. And I projected 3 years in advance, and I'll still be broke.
Guys, 4 years ago.
I did it in Word.
Yeah. Hey, 4 years ago, I was broke. I had like maybe $20 in my bank account and like $4,000 in credit card debt. Forget student loans.
Yeah.
Forget student loans. But
listen, that's a monster
with a part-time job and plans to go to the Dominican Republic with Soranji, because she wanted to go to DR for her birthday, and I was willing to take the last paycheck that I took to go, because you're 24.
Priorities. Priorities.
You're like, because you know why? Because one side of you is like, obviously, why are you even thinking about this? This is a bad decision. And then the other side of you is like, yo, but if you die tomorrow, like, you're gonna die with this stress on your head. Like, live your life, yo.
What am I taking to the grave with me? These bills or these memories?
Yeah.
Memories all day, every day,
bro. But yeah.
But I started that Excel spreadsheet. Then I ate a lot of crap. I didn't go out for months.
Yeah.
And I literally got myself out of debt. And then from there, once me and Jess got together, I kept that spreadsheet going. So I'm able to project all the way for another 3 years.
Yeah, that's great.
So once I was at a point where it's like, yeah, it's time to do it now. And the funny part is, it's kind of like, it was a perfect timing too, because at JFK, the Hackensack Meridian bought us out.
Yeah.
So it was, so they were all kind of like placing people in different locations, and I was like, man, I think this is my time to step aside, because I don't even know if my job is secured, and so it was kind of so it was kind of perfect timing, and I also wanted to put 100% into what I wanted to do. So that was like the perfect timing. So I spoke first with Jess.
Hello. Obviously.
Do not leave your woman in the dark.
Never. I'm like,
she will kill you.
That's a decision that affects you
in
both.
your sleep.
Bro.
Remember, if she cooks the food, she can put whatever she wants.
I say that all the. Didn't someone say that? Yes, she was like, you better watch it. She cooks your food.
Yeah.
So I spoke with her first, and I was like, hey, look, it looks like and this is a blessing too. It looks like, with your salary, because she just got promoted. She got a big bump in pay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And also we both have been working on the house, doing renovations. So we were able to raise the rent by a lot. So I kind of covered a little bit of my salary too. Mm. So because of that, we were able to find like that sweet spot, which is obviously.
So you could be comfortable.
Yes, comfortable. Yeah. As long as we're not, buying excess stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like the 0%.
Enough to keep you alive.
Exactly.
There you go. Above water.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did with her, and the thing is that it's hard to convince your wife if you don't have anything like present. But once we kind of got to that agreement that, okay, I'll step aside, that didn't mean that I'm just gonna chill, for like a while. But you know what, actually was perfect timing, because on top of, again, it's this perfect timing thing is crazy, because we were just moving.
Yeah.
So moving while having a full-time job, which we did last year. Imagine trying to you have to take days off, and you have to both have to. It was a lot.
It's a mess.
But given that we. That I was able to kind of help with the move, and we were able to kind of set everything together, make sure that we got the bills in line, everything is kind of in line with the house, and we still have furniture coming in, so I'm still looking and buying furniture and testing things out, buying a new TV and like rearranging things in the house. So that kind of helped, but that didn't mean that I was just gonna stop doing anything and just pick my PS4 controller and just start going in.
Yeah.
I literally every day have been kind of putting together a plan for this upcoming year.
Yeah, so that's really, that's really hard.
It is.
It's hard because it feels like you don't know where to start, because there's so many things that you have to tackle at once. And for me, that gives me
anxiety.
Yes. It's called analysis paralysis, right? Because you're overanalyzing to the point where you're like,
I like that.
Well, it's actually a term within a real estate, like community that I'm part of, and it's really called analysis paralysis. Like, you're literally just overanalyzing to the point where you're scared to move. You're like, and no matter what I do, things are still going like all over the place, and I don't know how to maintain control. So it's really hard to come up with a plan where you feel like, how am I gonna be able to fulfill this with 50 other things that are going on, and I'm the person responsible for all of this.
For someone who, I guess I'm the only one in the room who I feel like, not saying I love where I work. I love where I work, but I work the conventional 9 to 5, higher ed, so 9 to 8.
Yeah,
of course.
Like, exactly.
Anybody that works 9 to 5 knows that there's no such thing.
Exactly.
Except for one of my bosses hated me because I was like, you said 9 to 5 and at 4:59, that's the last time I'm typing on my keyboard. I am out.
So I'm the only one in the room I would say works a conventional 9 to 5 now. Is there that sense of I won't be able to help out financially or whatever?
Yeah.
Because I would say for me, not to sound chauvinistic, but as a man as well, I would feel like, what if I'm not able to provide for my family?
Correct.
What if I'm gonna feel less. I'm gonna feel a little less than because I won't be making either for some period of time any money or as much as I used to. So does that happen? Has that
I
happened?
think so.
Don't think so?
I think so.
Okay.
But you say like as a man, and I'm thinking so feminist, but I'm thinking like like just as an equal contributor.
Women's rights, blah blah blah. No, I'm joking.
Feminism is not about women's
joking.
rights. It's about being equal. Everyone being equal.
Okay.
Jesus Christ. But no, just as an equal contributor, you're like, I feel like I can't hold my weight. So, you start to feel like, damn, that means the other person got more control. Like, now I can't say anything because they're the ones holding me down. And so you don't start to feel as equal. You start to feel a little less than. I don't know. I think just the constant accommodation, especially, I guess I would say within the home, it's just I would say constant accommodation to the new reality, which is ever so changing.
Yep.
Because then, like you said, some months there's nothing coming in, and then some other months there's more than you expected coming in. So it's just an evolving. I guess I don't know. I don't even know how to.
I had like a mini panic. Like for me, I'll tell you how I feel, and then I'll go with Jess. I had a mini panic, like on a couple of days, because here's the reason why. I felt like I had a good hold on what I wanted to do, like coming out of.
Yeah.
But the thing is that when you're so new, not everything lines up for you. So it feels like you have this plan and set. Like I'm gonna give you, and just to kind of go by what everybody's been wondering what I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting to set up my own baseball academy. But with my baseball academy, what I wanted to do is not so much the conventional baseball academy where you pay me, I make your son very good at baseball. I feel like that's so small scale.
Yeah.
Like for me, what I want to do is kind of have like a multi-level baseball academy where I want to focus on athletics, academics, and some mentoring. Those are like my three phases. Because I feel like, these aren't just like animals where you're just training them and then just letting them and then releasing them in the wild. These are human beings.
Yeah.
And it feels like you can better set up a kid when you're able to kind of touch on all phases where they're good in the classroom, they're good in they're good athletically, and they have a good head on their shoulders.
Yeah.
You put those three together. Not only can like going back to what we were saying before, not only can they survive in terms of like at a high Division 1, Division 2, Division 3 level, playing college at collegiate, maybe in the pros. But when they move away from that, like my story where I had to let go of my dream of playing in the majors, I'm able to be a good person and be a good member of society.
Yeah, still have something more to contribute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like you can still do so much. Even if you're not, even if let's say you go through my academy and then you weren't able to accomplish what you wanted to accomplish, but you're able to get your degree.
Yeah.
Start something that you're passionate for. Whether it's a podcast or whether it's going into some kind of entrepreneurship or anything.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like my main thing when what I want to start. Well, with what I want to start. So but the thing is like, for example, one of the big milestones for me is location. So like, for example, if Vicky wants to start a business that she's very passionate about, she could probably get a computer, start a PayPal. If she needs a business license, get an LLC. That's $125 filing fee done, and then she can start receiving payments and kind of get the ball rolling. But for me, physical location is my number one thing, and it's so hard to find anything. But I'm still working towards that.
Yeah.
So because that's such a tough thing to acquire, it's just like you feel like you can't progress anymore. And I ended up having like not a mini panic attack, but it's just like you just feel so overwhelmed because Jess's new position is really tough. Like she's like taking on a lot, so I don't want her to feel all the pressure. And that's one of the main things, because Jess at one point was feeling a lot of pressure because she is the only one providing.
Yeah.
Which is why it's important for you to always keep her in the loop. So always tell her how you feel, because if it's just going to drown your marriage if you're just like feeling a certain way, you're not telling your wife because you don't want to bother her with stuff. Like, you guys are going through this together, this transition. And you know what? Another reason why you don't want to keep your wife in the dark is because with her, it's your wife or your significant other is a
Thank
source
you,
of.
thank you.
You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Is a source of. I was gonna say inspiration and
Oh, yeah.
knowledge and
Strong.
expertise, but this guy's ruining it right
What
now.
was it? Strong, what was it?
But
Strong
no, but-
acquaintance.
Yeah,
Like
but,
Keon-
Acquaintance.
Like Keon said, strong associate.
Strong associates.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go.
but she can help. Like Jess is extremely intelligent, and she's able to give me ideas, and I can bounce things off of her. How can we, get things started? So it's you're right. So you get a little mini panic, or you get a little frustrated, but just keep on pushing through. You'll
Yeah.
find something. If something's not getting done, is because you just kind of like you're afraid, you hit that barrier, and you just didn't want to push through.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, you mentioned talking to your significant other, your roommate, if you will. I feel like, especially for some of us who are the children of Caribbean, West Indian parents or so, there is that second level of family member that you're telling,
Yeah.
hey, not only am I not staying in this government job, whatever, I'm gonna go and do YouTube, or I'm gonna go and do this
Something
baseball academy.
unconventional.
Something completely unconventional
Right.
that they just see as stupid, as why would you do that,
Right.
as a waste of time.
Yeah.
Because your partner is gonna be like, you know what, babe, I believe in you. We're in it together.
Depends. Oh, I was just about to
I'm
say
like,
it. I don't know.
Some. But your parents, like you said earlier, they had a plan.
They had a plan.
They came over here and they know what works. What works is getting that city job or just
Money.
working
But
hard.
Getting that money.
You know what I always found interesting? That our parents always wanted us to go to college, get a job, get
Right.
whatever.
Right.
But they're all entrepreneurs. And
Yes.
so I feel
True,
like they saw their entrepreneurship as a negative thing while we saw it as like the keys to freedom.
Yeah.
We're like, hello, I could have been going to college of mom and dad, but y'all holding out on me. Like, well, I don't understand. Why I have to work for the man, but you don't.
That's why, to be honest, I'm so. Hopefully, we're here, or science finds some way to bring us back or keep us here.
Right.
I would love to see, not the next generation, like our kids and stuff. I want to see their kids and what their situation like. Because I feel like our kids are all growing up with the opposite. They're growing up because
I was thinking that earlier.
they're growing up with
Maybe are they gonna be a little more conventional because their parents are just
no,
way
no,
too
no,
out
no.
there?
I feel like they're going to be unconventional because
Yes.
all around them is like they're not seeing a majority of mom and dad doing the 9 to 5.
They're
They're
gonna learn
seeing
from you.
They're seeing
Or I think
all
I
creatives.
think they have a lot of
they're seeing all creative. So I'm
exposure to
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
kinds of parents.
like now like Khalil, our son is growing up with a studio in his house. You know,
Right.
so he's gonna grow up thinking like even right now he knows that, hey, I can't play with daddy's little mixer thing unless I plug this wire in here.
Right.
And he knows about him. He talks into a
and he knows
microphone.
that to touch that he needs the sticks, so he grabs.
So
the sticks
he's growing
before
up with inspiration for creativity around
100%.
him. And I feel like a lot
and
of
a
other
business
kids,
side to him.
exactly, a lot of
Yeah.
other kids his age, like shout out to my boy Biz, his 3 beautiful daughters. They're growing up with mom is a entrepreneur, dad is an entrepreneur,
Yeah, I
Right.
think that's awesome.
and those 3 girls are going to grow up to take over the world.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of other kids their age and that next generation, they're surrounded by that more so than we were.
And you know how, like, I always think of at this place I used to work, they did. So they're a big company, but they were still considered a family business.
Right.
And I remember they had like this company gathering, and they played like the history of how the company came to be.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout all the photos, you saw pictures of the grandfather. Well, he would be the grandfather now, but the grandfather, who pretty much started everything. And you saw pictures of his son, then of his grandkids that were always with him, like around the business, like, you know, on the weekends or after school. They were always around the business, so that's all they knew. And I'm like, see, like, exposure means everything, because this is all they know. So they grow up with this, not this mentality of, what do you call that when people are spoiled and they think they deserve everything? Entitlement. So they didn't come up with this source of entitlement, but they came up like, you know, this is what I've been trained to know because I knew it was coming to me. So like they take those opportunities as kind of like I know what to do because I grew up in this, as opposed to I learned what to do. I learned about this business when I graduated college 2 years ago, and that's all I know.
Mm-hmm.
So it is exposure.
I think
Is
that's
a really
where
big
we
deal.
are. A lot of us, like, we got this entrepreneurial spirit, like, not late, but after college or during college.
Yeah, because we learned it then, which is a shame because our parents could have been teaching that to us. But not that it's at any fault to them, because at that time they just wanted to give, a opportunity to their kids that they didn't grow up with.
Yeah.
So their way of approaching it was way different than
It's funny you mentioned
our
that.
way.
Right. It's funny you mentioned that because my dad used to work from. This is when he was working at another body shop. My dad worked from like 6 to 7 because my dad would carpool over to Hamilton, New Jersey, or over it all the way, a good hour ride, and then have to drive back in traffic. And I would only see my dad at nights, but I know that when he left and he came back from work, and my mom would work, and my mom would be with us, but then she would go off to work, and I'd go with the babysitter. And my whole life, I'm just like, that's what life is. When you grow up, you get a job, you work from 9 to 5. No, now it's 9 to 5, and it makes a big impact on you because I'm like, this is how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to work. But now, like for you guys, when your son sees you more often, he's gonna have that. He's gonna have that mentality where it's good to be with family. It's. I'm lucky to be with family as much as I am because you're here, working here. You're working 9 to 5, but you also, you work here. And eventually, I'm hoping this podcast becomes huge, and you're able, you know what I mean?
Help us out, people. Help us out.
Exactly. And
Spotify.
I'm hoping that you guys can have the type of schedule that you guys want, where you can see Kyle whenever you want. You go on vacations, you do what you want, because that's what the type of exposure that I would want him to have that we weren't able to get, because our parents they were just working all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like it's slowly, as the generations go on, certain things are being taken up. Like our parents, well, at least for me, my parents did the 9 to 5 and the side hustle and the passion, 5 to,
which is what a lot of people do now.
They did that.
Yes.
And then our kids are gonna be the ones to just do the passion entrepreneurship.
Yeah, but I think it comes at the cost of at least having one person with a steady income, so that you don't go completely under, and then one person pursuing, which that's such a huge sacrifice.
Yeah.
Like that is such a huge sacrifice, and I think my parents did that sacrifice where one person kind of like pursued their dream and the other one kind of like provided the stability. But I think that the point of that is so that our kids don't have to also do that choice, only because our parents didn't set us up. But I think it's awesome because if that passion takes off, then that person's like,
good.
Yo, I relieved
good to
you.
go.
Like, let it go. We good now.
You know what?
Like, thank you for giving me that chance to set up something for us so that we work full times for ourselves.
So when can I quit? Next year I'll be like, can I go yet? Nah.
I don't worry, man. The sponsor's gonna come in flying through here. You know what I mean? We're getting there. We're getting there.
Soon.
But that's a great place to start right there. Is if you have a job, work. Mm-hmm. But then if you really are passionate for something, why not take the extra hours that you're free and do something else? It's like it's on you. Now again, I'm not pushing people to do this. Like I'm not telling you, take advantage of the time you have for you have for free. But I'm just saying that's an option. Take it, work your 9 to 5, and then after you come home, then work on something else. And
it's
then you'll
hard
see,
too because you're
it
tired.
Is? Bingo.
Oh, now you're
stimulants, guys.
You know what's funny? While we're talking, I had a random thought. I feel like, and let me know if you agree. I could be overthinking it.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times when people have this conversation about passion and entrepreneurship, we always talk about it not so much like negatively, but we always talk about it as in like it's hard. You gotta it's taking a chance, whatever. I feel like a lot of times we don't talk about just like the joys of doing it, the joys of following your passion. Because as we were talking just now, I thought about my mom's passion and seeing her passion grow over the years.
Awesome.
And not even thinking about, she had a job, she was tired, just thinking about her following her passion.
Right.
I feel like we always talk about this stuff with the negatives that come with it. Leaving your job, the insecurities, the blah, blah, everything we've talked about so far.
Right.
And we never just say like, let's just have a joyful conversation about following your passion.
Yeah.
And but the reason why I say that is my mom, for those who know my mom is she's a decorator. She's a designer. I don't know what you would call what she does. But I always love when I go to my aunt's house, and my aunt has one of my mom's first creations. It was like a air freshener potpourri kind of holder thing that you hang in your bathroom.
Right.
And that's one of her first creations.
Right.
And she used to have these ceramic like hats, and
Yeah.
all of us used to be there. Myself, I'm in junior high school with a little paintbrush painting all these little petals. Now my mom will take an entire venue. All she tells you to do is have the tables and the chairs, and when you show up to your wedding reception, everything is there. Your centerpieces, your plates, your knives, your forks, your balloon work, your lighting, your all that stuff. And it started with her doing this potpourri thing, and now she can turn a room into Disneyland. You know?
All right.
And I feel like we don't just talk about that, like just the good parts about entrepreneurship and following your passion.
Well, I think that the reason to that is because there's a lot of trying to find a very polite way to say this. There's a lot of posing on social media about entrepreneurship.
Explain.
Like, there's a lot of, like, I work for myself. I live a good life. I do what I want. It's like, no. You know, like, even if you work for yourself, you're still working for somebody. So, like, maybe nobody can ultimately fire you from your company, but you could still be fired. You're still hired. You can still get paid.
Lose a
you
client.
can still not paid.
Yeah.
And now you have to do your own marketing, your own billing, your own, like I think the reason why is because a lot of people have this really fake view of entrepreneurship and the things that cost you to do that. So, like, you know, one person sacrificing to help you achieve your dream while they are not doing theirs. You know, the time you have to maybe not go out with your friends because your money's not all the way through and you have to stay home. So you're missing out on being with friends, and you're missing out on being able to go on vacation with them or do this or do that. Like, nobody talks about that nitty gritty stuff. They just glamorize
I got you.
entrepreneurship.
I think people also lose a sense of the end result. I think that's one of the main things that you're saying is, like, for you, it's like it's a lot of like that comes with like being on your own. But you have to just know that, okay, if you sacrifice these 2-3 years, then you're gonna sacrifice.
Yeah, I was thinking. I was like, listen, would you want, you know, maybe 1 to 3 bad years, and then you have 20 good years?
Yes.
Or you have 20 bad years so that you could live 1 of 5 years really good.
That alone just scares everybody. Everybody's like, oh, like it's just like it freezes up everybody. It was just like I can't take that next step. I just can't go these next 2 years without, you know, having steady income. It scares me. But you got to know, like Vicky's saying, you have to know that, hey, it's gonna get better. And that's the thing about being your own boss and following your passion is the output that you send out in terms of all that hard work that you're putting through.
You're gonna get back.
You're gonna get back. The same can't be said if you're working for somebody else.
Yes, and actually,
not at all.
But that's why I took the step that I did, because I was like, I can't.
You weren't getting it back.
It was definitely a crisis mode, and it was a time of, I can't do this for someone else to make money when I need to be doing this for myself.
Right.
That's exactly what Tony said.
1,000% focus.
Shout out to Tony.
For myself. I'm like, at the end of the day, they get to keep their money. I have a lot to lose. Like, it just doesn't add up for me right now. So in the beginning, when I first started working and I was still doing this on the side, it made sense, because I was like, oh, you know, this. But then, you know, things changed. And I was like, I'm sorry. Like, right now, the choice is you or me. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm super selfish, so it's me all day, every day.
And I'm one that, like, I always like to present facts. Like, when it comes to a conversation like this is very motivational, I like to put some facts in, because I want it to stick in people's head. Yeah. So for those out there, if you ever want to figure out what your salary is, or if you ever want to quickly do like a salary check, the average work year is 2,080 hours. 2080. So whatever your So whatever your salary is, say it's $25. Okay. You multiply it by 2080, and that's your yearly salary. So 2080 is the amount of hours you spent at work, right? I'm gonna do that with my life. So that account, right? Go ahead. So that accounts for 86 days worth of work. Now listen to this. A study was done in England, right? that suggests that in an 8-hour workday, and they across a lot of careers from 9 to 5, a lot of 9 to 5 careers, people are productive in on average 2 hours and 53 minutes for
A
2
day.
hours a day.
That's a
Yo,
lot.
let me tell you something.
That's a lot.
The rest you're spending, and I had a list, like the rest you're spending on talking to coworkers, on social media, just like messing around, going to the bathroom.
Getting up to go to the bathroom.
Well, it's not me. I spend 8 hours out of my 8-hour workday working,
I agree.
Let me
And
tell you.
and tending to my students.
Let me tell you. If that's what is it, 2.5 hours a day?
2 and almost 3 hours, like 7
Okay.
minutes on
Well,
the 3
that's
hours.
England.
Okay.
Come to America.
Almost
Wait,
3 hours.
Almost 3 hours.
Almost 3 hours.
Okay, and I'm assuming they actually have more days off and all that.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we're gonna sum that up to like about an hour for the United States.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. That's just people. Pregnant women, I'm gonna give you a solid 0 for
And
the
she's
9
speaking-
months.
She's talking from example. She's not just saying this.
I'm telling you from me.
From
Like
experience. That's what I was
people
looking
would be like, "Oh, why don't you smile today?" I'm like, because I'm pregnant.
because there's 7 pounds of something
yo,
in my
let
stomach.
me tell you, it got to a point where, of course, you want to go to work dressed, nice. I was over, like, first of all, I was over my pregnancy from like the beginning because it was just not an awesome pregnancy. But I went to work, like the shirt didn't fit me, half my stomach was out, and I didn't care. I was like, I want you to say something to me. Anybody got a problem with my outfit? Anybody got a problem? No? All right.
Yeah.
And it was like literally half my stomach was out. And I was like, I don't care. I'm free.
And
I'm done.
and the reason I bring that up is because, even with that type of production, you still keep your job. Now, I want you to think about it this way. Imagine with your passion, you're putting in a solid 8 hours a day because you are.
Because you care.
Because you want.
Because you know,
'Cause
you're
you
like, I
have
need to
that
make my
drive.
money. Yes.
You are like a machine, and you can get so much done with
That's
a
what I'm
solid
saying.
8 hours.
That's what I'm saying. A month, a day could change your life.
To change your life. And that's what I kind of wanted to cement, because it's like you're doing well, but are you really productive? Like, what do you have to, like, really productive? Do you feel good about what you do on a daily basis? Or do you feel like you can do something else, make a difference, and be happy when that Monday 8 o'clock comes through and you're coming in with the biggest smile on your face and just like with the only energy, as opposed to how I was feeling. And it's no disrespect to the job that I had, but when I was going up when I woke up in the morning and I
I know
drove
exactly what you're about to say.
to that place, and I drove to
Mhm.
to the office, and I got up the elevator to the 4th floor, and I'm just going like, man, I have to do this again.
I had a job. This is years ago.
Yeah.
Years. I was in high school at the time, and I always remember being in that elevator every day after school, and got to the, I think, the 2nd floor.
Yeah,
I would go. And yo, you
exactly.
took that breath,
Exactly.
and what's funny was taking that breath was you like giving up on just
Exactly.
you like
Right.
man, ain't
Right.
this up? You just-
Right.
Every day. So that elevator ride.
Yo, it just
The next time,
comes to
next time
mind,
you're in
man.
an elevator and someone gets to their floor and you know it's like in the morning, look at somebody and see,
Yeah.
like, do they smile when the door's about to open, or do they kind of go like, do they clench their fists? It says a lot. You'll be surprised at someone's reaction before they get out of the elevator to their job.
Speak to them before their coffee. See how
Bro.
they like their job. Speak to them before they have a sip of coffee.
I had a job that I liked all the time. I mean, like, even in the mornings, I would be really excited to be there, and I loved that job. Just unfortunately, it didn't work out, but I absolutely loved that job,
Right.
and I learned so much from it. But it still came to a point where I was like, "This ain't for me
You
no
have to
more,
choose,
dogs."
right? Another quick example: pull into the parking lot and see who's just sitting there in the
Just
parking lot.
thinking about what are my the decisions.
You're like, yo, I could just drive off right now.
Yo, let me tell you, I had like so, like, I didn't care so much that I would be doing my hair in my
Right,
car.
right.
It was like 9:05, and I'm like,
Just
I'm like,
taking
they're
your
gonna get
sweet
me
time.
when I get in there,
Yep.
and that's it.
But actually,
Like, send me home.
Yeah.
Send me home.
Telling you.
here's what I want to kind of end on and take a few minutes to do. Going back to what I was talking about, that
Mm-hmm.
whole like talking about the positives and the happy times
Right.
of being an entrepreneur, following your passion.
Yeah.
And you guys are probably in different stages of that journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I want to pick out some moments, and some minor ones and some big ones. The first time, like, when you finally got that if you're at that point, that logo, like you finally saw your business name, or to be honest, let's start with that first day when you woke up and you're just, or when you will wake up and be like, today's the first. Like I'm sure it had to be like a monumentous moment for you, or the first time for Vicky, the first time you saw your, I don't know, your logo or the first time you did something related to your business.
Actually, the most positive moment was being able to take the baby to the doctor. You don't understand how many times I was sick and tired of people saying like, oh, it's mommy this time. It's always daddy. I always only see daddy.
My ego.
And I wanted to be like, first of all, I got a job. Okay.
And no,
but it was really that I didn't work in the area.
Right.
It would literally take me an hour to come into the area, or I was not available and I couldn't go, even though I was like 10 minutes away.
Yeah,
I could not go to.
Right.
So like for the first year, and some
his
change.
his doctor's office was pretty much down the street from my job.
Yeah.
So it was very easy for me to always pick him up. And don't get me wrong, it did a lot for my ego. And nurses would be like, we don't see any dads here.
Yeah, and they'll be like, wow, you're the only dad that comes all the time. So
like,
then when I started showing up with him, they're like, where's daddy?
They were like, oh, mom's here.
I'm like, it's going to be me.
Yeah.
So I think that was the most fulfilling, not having to ask for permission to go to the doctor for my son.
Mm-hmm.
But I think fulfilling too, but scary is that whole the self-control thing, because now you have freedom.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the rebellious teenager, like when they go to college.
Yeah.
Also me.
Yes.
That they're like, freedom. Class who? And
What?
then you're just like out the door, and like you just don't show up to your dorm for like who knows when. So it's also like that. Like it's fun because you're like, I get to control my schedule, and you know what? Now that I have all this experience from my jobs, I'm gonna be able to like, oh, I know exactly what I need to do. But then you're like, I can just do it later because I got time.
Like, I'm
gonna go to the gym.
gym.
I'm gonna go to the gym. Nobody's at the gym. It's 11:30 in the morning. Nobody's at the gym. And you go to the gym and you're like, why is there so many people here? Like, what jobs y'all got?
I ain't gonna front. There's times I come home for lunch and Vicky and Vicky might just be in bed laying down. But then the next day I'll come home and Vicky will be in the living room, laptop, paper, stuff.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Going in.
and he just looks at me and I'm like, I'm busy all day.
Yeah. So
even like the TV's on, but I'm like,
so tell me a similar
and
fulfilling.
he just played me out laying in bed. Really?
Sometimes
She
you are.
just really called them lazy.
I didn't say you were lazy.
Called them
Bro.
lazy.
I can also work off my phone all day.
That's true.
Anyway.
Damn.
For me, I think the biggest step for me, or like you're saying that
Biggest
that
moment, or fulfilling moment so
was
far.
I started a baseball camp this
yes. I saw that.
this summer,
Okay.
which is called MC Baseball Camp, which is my last name Minaya, and Calderon, who's the other coach that I'm partnering with. And it was that first day where I was expecting maybe one.
You're like, God, please, I just need one. Please, God, please.
And when 10 or I think it was like 12 kids showed up,
that's awesome.
the best feeling ever, because it feels like you're going somewhere. Like this is a need, and it's gonna happen for me. And I think that feeling I've been carrying on forever, because I know there's a need. It's just a matter of when, not a matter of if anymore. Because if was when I put that flyer out and no one comes, there is no when, because there's no one here. But those 12 kids
Truth
showed
bombs
up.
right
Those 12 kids showed up, and I was good with one. 12. I mean, we were at some point I was almost like overwhelmed, but I was like, nah, I got this. Let's do this.
Yeah, you're like, I'll take it.
That's when I knew there's a need, and I'm gonna go.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's
Big time.
You know what? That's such a good point. Like, you always want to keep, like, your hopes of entrepreneurship. You want to keep them as, I don't want to say aim for low.
Attainable.
You want to aim for high, but budget for low. Like, always budget for really low, so that anything after that is always a gain.
Right.
Because when you're like, oh, if I don't get 50 people, this is not gonna work because I budgeted this for 50 people.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, our entrepreneurship is making money. It's a business about making money so that you can continue to do this. So you just want to budget to the bare minimum of what's gonna get you to be able to continue doing that. And then if you want to profit, then you think of like other ways to make money. Yeah. But always, because I feel like sometimes people, they go too above and beyond, and maybe that's why they fall flat. And they just don't keep things realistic and close to the ground. Like keep it at the very bare minimum. Like you're an entrepreneur. Maybe if you have a profitable business, maybe you shouldn't get a 6-figure salary that first year. You know, maybe you should just
this needs I need to be rich.
Just add up your expenses and then literally just pay yourself exactly that.
You know what? It's funny you mentioned that, because when you aim so high like that, and
just remember, aiming that high is a very, very, very much further down to fall. It's going to be a lot harder when you fall.
And not only that, it's not to say it's overwhelming, but you're starting something and you're expecting a ton of traffic. Do you know what you're asking for?
Yeah, that's a lot.
I'm going to give you an example, and I'm going to eventually I want to speak about this book called The $100 Startup.
Okay.
Right? It's just based on different companies that were started with less than $1,000. I'll follow your passion model. And it's pretty much people who kind of, with no expertise, and they started businesses. And one of the main things was, there was an example of a restaurant who decided to ask Groupon for help. They put a Groupon ad for the restaurant, and 1,000 people bought the Groupon, and they were so overwhelmed with the traffic that their first day was a disaster.
That's actually, we'll talk about something off the mic
right
there.
And you know what I mean? Like sometimes, like, don't go too out of control. But if you're willing to. If you have a plan for that type of traffic, then go ahead.
Yeah.
Because you know what? It's nice to have an idea of what it's like when it's crazy. If it's early, it's early. But just over prepare. It's what's it called? Under promise, over deliver.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Always.
like you want to make sure that you want to make sure that even if it's like you're just you're providing them with something small, but just go as hard as you can at whatever, even if it's a few people. When those kids showed up, even if it's just 12, I gave them my undivided full attention,
the best experience they could. That
and
first
exactly,
day, yeah.
And they came back, and that was another
and that's the
big
thing.
moment.
You just need
is retention. The amount of retention I had.
Retention is so important.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's one of the main things. So whether you get a lot or not so much, just even if it fails or you succeed, just keep thinking about ways to just make it happen. You won't make it happen.
Yeah.
It's just having a plan in place. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like just the whole that, because there's so many layers to this whole following your passion, entrepreneurship.
Ooh, that sounds like a part 2.
What? Yeah, I mean, I think it needs to be. It needs to be because, like I said, there's so many layers, and there's positive, there's negative, there's mysticism. I have a list. So the word mysticism, whatever.
Myths.
There's misconceptions. Anyway, and again, I'll end on this from my end. Being someone who hasn't, I guess, taken that jump. To you two, to those of you who have taken that jump, people like me, we are in awe of people like you. We admire you. We feel lesser than, because you're like, yo, that person is bold. That person is doing something that I probably would never do, or I'm struggling with. So I just want you guys to know that we appreciate that. I have a friend, my friend Charles. Charles, to me, took that leap. He's an independent filmmaker. He's a creative in every sense of the word, and he's following his passion. He's over on the west side. And I was like, Charles, me, Donald, we're all in a group chat together. We envy you because you are the one that's living your dream. And he'll be like, yo, this ain't easy. I'm struggling.
You're like, I'm struggling.
While we're like, yo, I want to be like you, Charles. And he's like, yo, bro, like, calm down. But we see you guys in this, like, on this Mount Everest type thing, Mount Everest, Mount Rushmore type, whatever thing. We put you on this pedestal because you took this leap that we are afraid to take. So I want you guys to know that. And for anyone who took that jump, took off those golden handcuffs, and is feeling and struggling, just know that there's people looking up to you, and we're admiring what you're doing. Just like you said, stay with it. It will work out. Like you said, that first year or 2 or 3 or 10 might be hard, But the following 15, 20, 30 are going to be great. And,
And the important thing is you have a good support system.
Exactly. And if it wasn't for me, Vicky wouldn't be where she's at. That's what she's saying. I'll say it for you. Don't worry.
Proud of you.
Don't worry, babe.
Proud of you, bro.
This is the only time I'll say this, but thanks, Dad.
Anyways, so really quick, where can the people find you online?
All right. So I have an Instagram. It's my personal one is Mr_Minaya. My last name Minaya.
Okay.
And my coaching page is Coach Minaya with my last name Minaya.
No underscores, no nothing.
No underscore, just straight Coach
Nice.
Minaya.
Oh, that's awesome.
Coach Minaya. And it's funny because like a lot of people call me that. They're like, "Are you Coach Minaya?" Because let me tell you, just I don't mean to extend it, but
Keep going, keep going.
No, go ahead.
jeez, when I tell you that Instagram and Facebook have stepped it up when it comes to having a
Branding.
business.
Yo.
Oh my God, I can literally have like my traffic like broken down by location, age, and gender. That's
Yes.
amazing.
Analytics.
Amazing. So again, like I'm using that for now, and it's worked really well. But yeah, that's my
That's awesome.
that's where you can find me.
Nice. That's where you can find them, and so you can find us right here, the You Me We podcast. We got to do a part 2.
Yeah, of
Yes.
course.
Oh my God,
We
I
have
would
so
love
many
that. I would love that.
entrepreneurs that we know of. For those of you who checked out the Phoenix NPM Live podcast, the Make Party podcast, I've interviewed a bunch of people who were following their
for
passion.
sure.
So we'll get some more entrepreneurs in here. We'll bring you back. We want to see.
Yeah, we want
Progress.
to do like
Progress.
a catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
the
yeah.
Of
progress?
So shout out to
Of
you,
course.
Vicky. Yep, see, Vicky's here, still here. Joking. The You Me We podcast.